Folks might be new and might not know that.
I'm Little Music Man. Hi.
I'm going to let him tell you what he's been out doing. And while he's doing that, I'm going to cut up some vegetables. All right?
So I've been out.
Hey y'all, Miss Katie here. Today I have pulled some things out of the pantry and my potato storage, and they are not exactly the highest quality food. We have a cabbage that's got some spots, and it just needs to. We need to dig down in there to find some good parts of it. We've got some potatoes that are sprouting, and then these over here are a little bit shriveled. And we've got an onion that's gone a little bit soft. Some carrots that are starting to sprout a little bit. And then I've just got some other things that I've pulled out. But what I would like to do today is just bring you along for a little chat. But I want to encourage you during this little chat of keeping it real. But I want to encourage you, used to you might think, oh, throw that away, the whole thing. These are times when you need to dig down into that cabbage head and find some good pieces. So I want to just bring you along. Glad you're here. While I fix this into a soup, talk about some different ingredients, talk about some ways you can have a more economical soup. I know there's 1,014 videos probably about soup, but I don't use a recipe, and I do spice things up with herbs and spices. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but I'd like for you to particularly leave your questions for me in the comments about herbs, spices, and that kind of thing, because I'm actually pulling together, I have pulled together a herbs and spices class that I'm going to teach locally in several venues this coming year here in this area. And I would just like to know maybe hear from you, something I might be missing. What do you want to know about herbs and spices, so that I can answer those questions and help you, but also I can add those to my classes, my courses that I'm teaching in person here next year. We are just here, I'm calling it Best We Can Homemaking. I've created that tag over on Instagram, and that's what I'm going to be talking about going forward. We're doing the best we can. So Best We Can Homemaking. And if that resonates with you, you want to do the best you can, you want to save money, but you feel like there are some roadblocks, or you feel like, I want to open a can of soup and not feel guilty about it for my family, or I want to make homemade bread, like I've made the sourdough here. I want to make homemade bread, but I don't want to feel bad about it if I order from someplace, say like Wildgrain box, which I enjoy using their products as well. So Best We Can Homemaking is our goal going forward, but you hit that subscribe button if you will, and ring that little bell, because that gives you notifications. And I'm going to go over here and I am going to peel these vegetables, and I'll be right back.
Awfully, actually.
Well, and some folks might not be familiar with that. So you can say whatever you want, but I'm going to cut while your hair's flying around. Okay, I'm Miss Katie. I don't know if I said that. This is HERITAGEWAYS. What do you mean it's not on?
Is it? I don't know if you turned it. Yeah, you turned it on.
Yes, I
Sorry,
did. That's okay.
Wanted to be sure.
I'm Miss Katie, and this is HERITAGEWAYS. Folks might be new and might not know that.
I'm Little Music Man. Hi.
I'm going to let him tell you what he's been out doing, and while he's doing that, I'm going to cut up some vegetables. All right?
So I've been outside riding my bike. It's new. Got it yesterday. It's a mountain bike. Don't really know the brand. I've been doing a lot on switching gears. Going up a hill, I have to switch the gear, and going down, I have to switch.
Okay, where did you get it?
a bike shop, bikes for kids. It's a small shop behind a fair office.
Okay, well, it's in our village,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a ministry of the local church, and they give bikes away to children. And what did we do? We donated your old one. I didn't go. You
We
downloaded.
we donated my old bike, which they had one exactly like it there.
Well, they can give it to another
Mine was
child.
in better shape. That one was like all busted up.
Okay. Dad said he was impressed with the bike shop because it was.
Yeah, it had some pretty good bikes. I mean, they even polish them up.
He was impressed with the tools and all that kind of thing.
There was wrenches. There was stuff to. I mean, the man there had. He had like a big drawer of just bike reflectors.
Well, they know what they're doing. And like I said, it is their church ministry. And it was a free bike, which really helps us these times right now.
And it's a good bike.
And we didn't have to donate, but we did donate his. So that was good too. Cool. And is it cold outside? You weren't out there but a minute.
It's cold. It's about 30 degrees.
It snowed yesterday.
And it's flurrying right now.
Yeah.
You can barely see them,
Yeah.
but one landed on my nose.
So you didn't stay out very long, but that is nice. And what are you fixing to do with your sister?
A farmopoly. Now, farmopoly, for those who don't know, is like Monopoly, except it's farm themed. Like, where in Monopoly there's Power Place and Boardwalk. In Farmopoly, there's the Homestead and Big Red Barn.
So you've always loved Farmopoly. All three of you kids, you little kids.
Mm-hmm. And I barely use the characters. I use Lego pieces for the characters I use.
Actually, our three adult sons, who I sometimes refer to as big boys, they like Farmopoly as well.
Yeah, it's just funner. I mean...
Little Missy got Horseopoly for Christmas last year because she asked for it, but nobody really will play it with her. Plus, she's lost interest, so we donated that to the church game closet at our church. All right, thank you. Is that all you have to share with us? Do you have anything else to say to us before you go play? Anything you want to share?
Please like and subscribe to my mom.
Oh, my stars. Okay, bless his heart.
See y'all, folks.
And come here, I'll let you give a plug. If you have little kids, come tell them about your channel. Real quick, you got 10 seconds.
I have a channel. It's Building Legos with Little Music Man. And please like and subscribe to it. It makes me very happy.
Actually, I will tag it down below in the description box. Thanks, buddy. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about, he blew me kisses. A little bit about what I'm doing here, and I just want to share as I go along and I think of things. This is just a very authentic method, just using what you have. All right, I want to talk about, I know you probably can't see really well, but I'm just going to keep that camera where it is to keep from having to move it. But this onion might have some really super soft spots, or yeah, it's got some rot inside. Now, my goal here is not to scare y'all or make you think I'm giving my kids rotten food, but don't throw away food that looks like it might be on its last leg. Or, you know, a while back, it probably, a couple of 2-3 years ago, you probably would have thrown it away. Let's think differently now. Let's think about, so this is going to be basically some sort of maybe a vegetable soup, but more along the lines of cabbage soup, vegetable cabbage soup, which I know cabbage is a vegetable, but when you think of vegetable soup, you typically don't think of cabbage itself. Here's my scrap bowl. That's an efficient tool. You either need to have your compost bucket or just a scrap bowl. Or if you want to feed things to the chickens, like, you know, your carrot pieces, you don't want to give your chickens potato peels. Another way to use things is onion peels are good for coloring yarn and fabric and paper, even if you're making homemade paper. But, you know, that's just throwing that information out there to you. Okay, so like I said, I just made sourdough bread, and I made it in the my Lodge cast iron enamel line Dutch oven. And that's what I'm going to use to make the soup, because it's out and I enjoy using this Dutch oven. I like it so much. Lodge is a Tennessee company, so I'm thankful for that. All right, I want to talk about meats, because we're going to need to brown our meat first. Typically, maybe in a vegetable soup or some sort of a stew, you're going to use ground beef or stew meat. Typically, first rule of thumb is don't get all caught up in the fact that you don't have a certain meat to make the stew that you need. Let your mind be creative and be versatile with what you have. Now today, and I don't recommend this necessarily to produce a frugal soup, but I'm actually going to use 2 meats, because I've had both of these in the freezer for months and months and months. So it's not dipping into my budget the past few weeks. And I just want to use them up. And I think that the ground chicken and the smoked sausage will go good together. It almost has a gumbo, reminiscent of gumbo, that combination. So that's what I'm going to do. Right now, I'm going to take this ground chicken, and I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to turn this on first. Turn it right above medium. And I'm going to put a little bit of avocado oil in here, because I don't know how much fat is in that ground chicken. And I'm just going to brown up the ground chicken. And with that ground chicken, I actually am going to chop up what's good about this onion, and I'll put that in there as well. And I'm going to season it. So I need to get a bowl. Now, like I said, in the background, you might hear the kids play Farmopoly or the dog whining or something. So just know that's what's going on. You know what? The Dutch oven is 6 quart. And it appears smaller than a 6 quart crock pot, but it's 6 quarts is 6 quarts. So I hope you'll stay with me the whole video. It's going to be a tad longer than, it's rotted inside. It's going to be a tad longer than a typical, just a quick run through, because I'm going to make the whole soup and give you tips as I think about it. Okay, we have a very undesirable onion here. A little more undesirable than I thought. Just going to take out the inside. Okay, see, this is a little bit beyond what I thought. I'm actually not going to use it. Okay, that's a little too far gone. But hey, I tried. I couldn't tell without cutting into it. So forget the onion, and we'll just use onion powder instead. So let me go ahead and get this chicken in the Dutch oven. I'm going to season the meat right now with some salt and fresh ground black pepper. Now, I'm going to tell you throughout this video some of the products I use. Some are affiliate links, some are not. I'm just sharing. But just as a disclaimer, I need to tell you some are affiliate links. But I like to share things because I want to give you resources of where you can get things if you don't have a resource. So if you don't have a resource for Redmond Real Salt, a lot of the things you'll see today, including the salt, are found at Layman's. And I am an affiliate with Layman's in Kidron, Ohio. And so a lot of things that you see, like I said, you can find at Layman's, including the Dutch oven. So I'm going to get my pepper. This came from a thrift sale, like a massive community yard sale thing, and I did a video that with this. So you can't buy this somewhere at a store. I mean, I'm sure you can, but I can't tell you where. love to shop thrift stores. I mentioned that a lot of times I will add the spices at this level, and it kind of wakes up the spices a little bit. But before I do that, I'm going to cut this sausage into like it's kind of coins, I guess is what you can call it. Well, it's got an easy open slide thing that I didn't even use. Oh well. And this is just a smoked sausage, Hillshire Farm. Now, part of our quest, Best We Can Homemaking, is we buy the best we can. We just do the best we can. I like to buy the best meats that I can, but, you know, the most healthy. But, you know, I have to get what I can. I have to get what I can afford. I have to get what's available, same as you. This has some ingredients I'm not thrilled with. It does have nitrates and nitrites and some other things. But we're doing the best we can. And my chicken is an organic grass-fed, my ground chicken. It's from a local butcher. So if you're the kind who can afford the time and have the money to buy the very, very best, and then that is great. That is great. Go do that. But if you're just doing the best you can, I want you to be happy that you are content. I want you to be content that you are doing the best you can. Feel no guilt about that. The best you can is not an excuse, but it is just what it says. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this. The chicken's almost cooked. Well, I don't want to say brown because it's not really going to get brown necessarily, maybe lightly. And I'm going to add this, and then I'm going to add some spices and seasonings. And after that, I'm going to wash off this cabbage and see what we can pick away from that. Throw out the undesirables. They go to my chickens, or they can go to your compost or wherever. Trash. Okay, I'm always honest with y'all. I want you to be able to trust me, trust the things that I tell you about. And this particular Lodge cast iron Dutch oven does slide very easily on this continuous grate stovetop. So I just feel like I need to point that out so that I know my other one I had forever. You've seen me cook with it forever. Got it at Aldi. It's Crofton brand. And it didn't seem to slide as easily. So I just want you to be cautious of that. When this is stewing later, or simmering later, I'm going to have it on the back eye so that somebody, for whatever reason, especially if you had little children, didn't come up and grab it. But that's something to consider anyway, whether it slides easily or not. I'm going to add this smoked sausage. Get whatever you can afford, or leave it out. Like I said, 2 meats is not a very frugal it's not a very frugal soup. However, it could be. It depends on your circumstances. So if you're more rich in meats than you are fruits and vegetables, then you know, that's, you use what you have. I'm going to turn this down to 1 notch below medium, and I'm going to put some spices in here. Okay, for starters, I'm going to put 3 bay leaves. If you've watched long, you know that I always use 3 because that way we, the family, always know how many to pick out of our soup. So somebody says, I found 1, and somebody says, I found the other, and then the other. Because you definitely do not want to try to bite into these and swallow them because they could cut your insides. That's not okay. All right, something else is I'm going to go ahead and add what's in here. It looks like about a tablespoon of my homemade Italian seasoning. Recipe you can find as a video here on YouTube. You can find it in my first cookbook. Another tip, rub the seasonings between your hands, and it helps release the essential oils, the essences of the herbs. All right, so we've already put salt and pepper. And I'm going to see what else I'm going to put in here as far as seasonings goes. I literally just open the cabinet and just look. That's how I cook. And we could do onion powder, because I know we need the onions. But I'm going to get those over on my spice shelf. Oh, I think we'll do smoked paprika here in a little bit. That'll be good with the cabbage and the potatoes. Cabbage, potatoes, the smoked sausage, that all goes really well together. You know what? I'm going to do a little bit of poultry seasoning. I think that'll be good. Actually, no, I'm just going to do just sage. So this is how I decide. And then there are others I could use as well. Let's do, but this is store-bought. This isn't my homemade. But I'm doing about, or homegrown rather. I'm doing about, half a teaspoon of sage. Then I'll do smoked paprika here in a little bit. It's not burned. I've got, it's still the sausage is sweated and kind of cooked down, so that's good. And I'm going to turn this on low here. I'm going to add, now your garlic and onion powder is going to clump together, unfortunately, because of the natural sugars. If you need to, you can put it in a mortar and pestle to mash up the clumps, or a little mini food processor. But this works pretty well because it's not hard clumps. And I'm going to do probably a teaspoon. Okay, 2 teaspoons. When I'm doing this, I don't want the steam to get from my soup into my jar, so I hope I was careful enough about that. Also, let me know in the comments, do you still in this day and age, and no judgment, just curious, if you throw away the vegetables that look like I showed you. Now, I did throw the onion away, but the others, I don't. Now, I'm going to need a liquid in here, so let's talk about that. You can use a broth if you have that. You can use, a vegetable juice, like a V8 juice, a tomato juice, a vegetable juice from the store, that kind of thing. I do have a video of from when we were RVing, and it was cabbage soup, and it uses a V8 juice. Or if you're in another country and you don't have V8 juice or know what I'm talking about, it's just like a vegetable juice, tomatoes and peppers. I don't know what else is in it. I'm wanting to make some myself and can it, but I haven't done that yet. We'll talk about the liquid I'm going to use here in a minute. But before I put liquid in, and I like to do this when I'm making my Instant Pot vegetable soup as well. It just has worked well for me to do it this way. The vegetables just end up not being as mushy, and they're cooked, of course, when the soup is done. But if I put it in here first, the vegetables, the firm ones like these potatoes and carrots, and I kind of almost stir fry or saute, if you will, them with the meat. I like that better than just dumping them in here with the liquid. But you certainly can there's no right or wrong order to make this. It's not even a recipe. I don't even have a recipe to give you. So don't look for a recipe. This is just a method, and I'm just inviting you here in my home today while I cook. So that's going to cook. I am going to put a little bit more oil just because this meat is not a high-fat meat, but if I had something like a pork or a meat that had a little bit higher fat, then I would need to add more. It's starting to stick a little bit. Now, that sticking, the brown on the bottom, is called fond, F-O-N-D, like I'm fond of you. And that's okay. it is actually going to release when we add our liquid and simmer it. And it actually is a lot of flavor in that fond. Also, these enamel lined pots like this are just so great because they help release the fond when the liquid is introduced as well. Now on your spices, if you wanted to add a little bit extra of something, extra basil, extra parsley, extra thyme, those are the ones I typically like to use. So if you're writing this down, basil, thyme, oregano, marjoram. That's not margarine, like the butter alternative. It's marjoram. Those are a lot of my go-tos. You could add some cayenne pepper too, which I may or may not do with this. Already I'm excited about. It's looking and smelling great. Another thing is celery leaves. Those are really good. I just don't have any right now. But those are really good to add, either fresh or dried. And again, I'm not worried about if you'll see the stuff, the fond on the bottom. I'm not worried about it. Nothing looks burnt. The food doesn't look burnt. Now, I'm not cooking these firm vegetables until they're tender, mind you. I'm only just kind of getting them introduced to the heat and just getting the cooking started on that. Okay, now what I'm going to add now, and this is, of course, optional. Everything I'm doing is optional, is a white wine that I do have a hair on it. That's gross. Okay. Is a white wine. I have it in the fridge because I just pull it out for things like this. And I'm going to and that's probably 1/4 of a cup of, and that is going to help release that fond. Yeah, it's already, oh, I can tell, see? And that's going to add a little flavor. Oh, see, it rubs right off. Oh, yeah. And then I'm about to add my other liquid, my main liquid. And that'll continue to release that fond. And the main liquid is going to be water. But I'm going to season up that water, flavor it. That splash of white wine is going to add a teeny tiny bit of flavor, but nothing that you're not going to like if you're not even a wine drinker. Now I'm going to go ahead and add this tomato paste. I have not added the cabbage yet because it's a softer vegetable and it doesn't have to cook as long as the other vegetables. But this is a 6-ounce can of tomato paste. This is my secret weapon. I have cases and cases of these down in the larder. This is so versatile. I've said in another video, I think it was a haul video once upon a time, that I think this is my most used store-bought item in my pantry. I really do. Because, I mean, I can make pizza sauce with this. I can use it for, you know, if you need it for meatloaf, if you need it for soups, sauces. So I'm just basically, I'm about to add my water, but I'm just going to get this stirred up in here so that it's easier to mix. I just know this by experience. If I added my water now, I wouldn't be able to stir as vigorously as I'm stirring. And if you had like a can of home canned tomatoes, I've got those downstairs too, you could do that instead. So whatever liquid you have, it almost looks like a good goulash or something. Right, I'm going to add a secret healthy ingredient as well that folks don't think about. But before I do that, let me go ahead and add some water. And right now, I just want enough water. I want to still be able to stir it. So I'm just going to cover it so that it can start to release that fond. And get everything mixed well together. Oh, I can tell just by stirring that the fond is released. I can tell it's smooth on the bottom. After so many years of cooking, I have to I have to judge by stirring. So if somebody's helping me, I'll have to say, well, let me feel it. Okay, and I have to say, you know, I have to feel it to see if it's done. I can't just tell you it's done. I have to feel it. Now my secret here is this. It's the turmeric, or some people say turmeric, But it's got the R, T-U-R. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm going to add, now this does not add a lot of noticeable flavor. I'm adding this for its anti-inflammatory properties. It is so good for us. The curcumin that is in turmeric is so healthy for us, and Mr. Patient and I specifically need a lot of it. Now, it is going to turn your products, or your not products, your dishes more yellow or orangey. That's not really a problem for me when it's already a tomato base. But just know that any tomato base that I have, I pretty much add turmeric, and I add it in a lot of my spice mixes that I make and that I teach people how to make. It's just another way to get some good anti-inflammatory properties. Also, you need to know that it is best for the properties to activate properly in your body. And I'm no doctor or health professional, but it must be served with black pepper and fat. So whatever kind of good fat, butter or avocado oil, coconut oil, beef tallow, bear fat, whatever it is you're cooking with. So fat, and if you're making a dressing with turmeric, just make sure you're including fat and black pepper. So I'm just going to put this on medium, and I'm going to chop my cabbage. And I'm glad I don't have a whole head of cabbage to use, because I really don't want a whole head in here. I only probably want what I'm going to end up with. We're simmering. See that color? Actually, I like that color caused by the turmeric. Now, I'm going to add the the cabbage now. And then a small sprinkling of salt. This is what it produced. It may look like a lot to you. It's probably 4 cups. I'm not sure. I don't know. 4 or 5. It will cook down. You do not have to use all this or any of it. But it's really good. Cabbage is good for you. And it's a good stretcher, meal stretcher. I'm making a huge pot because I'm hoping this will serve us for several lunches this week. Add a little more salt, the rest of what's in my salt cellar here. And I'm just going to let it simmer. Now, if you wanted to let this simmer for hours, you could, but it would probably be ready in easily less than an hour. I will add more water. Now, I use pure water from my Berkey. Again, we are Berkey affiliates, so I have a link in my description box. I'm still satisfied with the Berkey the product I received from my Berkey filter. So that's where we are on that at this point. And if you're interested in trying that out, it beats tap water all day long. So there's a link in my description box for that. All right, now, if you're making this in the crock pot, you would not use, a lot of liquid doesn't cook out of your crock pot. So just be mindful of that. Here on the stove, especially having the gas stove, it does cook out more. The liquid cooks out more. So you'll need to watch it or add more at the beginning. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and just add my smoked paprika. That was probably 3 teaspoons probably. Oh, it smells, oh my goodness, that smells good. Oh, my stars. Oh, that hit me. That smells good. While that's cooking, and in the interest of best we can homemaking, I want to tell you that I did make this sourdough bread. It wasn't difficult. Great thump there, what you want. Wasn't difficult. Did take 2 days, but it does have to rise twice. And I'm very proud of the fact I can do that. But I can't always do this. And so the folks at Wildgrain realized that I love this kind of product, high quality. And I just want to tell you about them. A Wildgrain box over on Instagram. And they are offering, and I don't know when you're seeing this, so the offer is only good to the first 50 folks who respond. And again, there's a link down below if you're interested, but I want to tell you why I like them. So it's a monthly subscription of bread, pastas, pastries, but it is, they started it out of a desire for homemakers to be able to have good, healthy bread when they don't have time to make it, or the inclination or the knowledge to make it. It's a company outside of Boston, Massachusetts, a small company, but they're growing, and I hope they do grow because I love to support these kinds of companies. But the ingredients are just minimal and healthy, non-GMO, just really good quality products. But when the box arrives, you can just take the contents out and put it in your freezer. Now, I've used some things that they've sent, but I still have a few here. And I have 3 left that were in that box. We've used some sourdough, some garlic, rosemary bread that was delicious. And I just love that I can take this out of my freezer and I can actually be eating it in 30 minutes. This one is a slow fermented cranberry pecan bread. It says we use the old way of making bread with yeast that ferments for 20 plus hours, start to finish. Non-GMO, unbleached flour, clean ingredients, vegetarian, no artificial colors. I'm carried away with their ingredients because I love to read and get the best I can for my family. It is wildgrain.com. They have pasta, and from what I understand, it is local pasta and pastry chefs there in the area. So they're supporting those small businesses. I love that too. These are croissants. Y'all, oh my goodness, croissants are my favorite. Well, so is sourdough. And I don't mean favorite from Wildgrain. I mean favorite in life. I love croissants. And so if you, the first 50 folks to check out that link and to try out Wildgrain, receive $10 off for their first box and free croissants in every box. So I love that. I love free. I love that. And their communication is great. That's important to me too. Their customer service is great. I've been working closely with Cash and Reggie there at the Wildgrain company, and they're friendly and they're communicative and give me the information that I want. So if you ever had a problem, I'm sure that they would work with you on that if you did ever have a problem. But I want to tell you about that. You know, if you're not interested, fine. If you make your own, great. If you don't eat bread, wonderful, fine. But I do want to let you know that because I like to pass good things on to you. Okay, we're just going to let this soup simmer for a while, and then we will have our supper. So we've got our soup and bread. So I hope that helped you a little bit. I can show you here at the end. I'll just tag a picture of what the soup looks like. But I hope that helped you. I hope you're counting your blessings, and I will see you next time. Have a good day. Bye-bye, y'all.